I have been selling this book, Zanazli and Wan Chun Hong's Guide to Indie Filmmaking, which is published by MPH for a while now. It's a really good book if you want to be a filmmaker, whether it's for YouTube, social media, TV, film, cinema, whatever. This is the book to get. I'm going to make it more accessible and more affordable to all of you because I believe that everybody needs to become a filmmaker. The more filmmakers we have in the world, I think this world will be a better place to live in. Now it's available as an electronic book download on my website. I'm going to link it here. It's really cheap, it's really affordable. It's only 5 ringgit if you want to get the ebook version. Okay, 5 ringgit. It doesn't really cost much, right? It's just a little bit of something for me. I mean, it did take a lot of work to write. Each chapter of this book talks about one part of the filmmaking process. And for each chapter as well, I interview a local filmmaker. It's only 5 ringgit. It's only 5 ringgit. Okay, so you're watching and listening to the Bidin Film Club, and I'm Shimi Azan Azli. As usual, every week we watch a local film and we review it. This week we're reviewing a local film that we have missed several times, but now we've got the opportunity to watch it again. What's the film called?
Maryam Pagi ke Malam.
Okay, so we watched the film Maryam Pagi ke Malam, directed by Badrul Hisham. Badrul Hisham used to be my student 20 years ago.
Yes, half of the Malaysian media scene used to be your student.
Yeah, they're either my students or used to be my staff. It's great, I'm so influential.
And old.
Yeah, but look at me! People want to call me old. Have you seen me? Have you seen me, sir?
Oh, I got a story for you later, I tell you.
Have you seen me? Now, tell me if I was old last night, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Laju je apa.
That's not old, that's teenager.
It's not about the film, it's not about the film.
Okay, so what's the film about?
The film is about this 50-year-old woman named Tengku Maryam, who is like a kerabat. And it's played excellently by Sophia Jane.
Yeah.
I know we're not going into the review yet, but I must mention that she was excellent. Yeah, so it's played by Sophia Jane, and then she owns this art gallery, and basically it follows her day lah, from pagi to malam. And throughout the entire day, all she's trying to do is get permission to get married from various people, like her father, her lawyer, her lawyer sends her to a religious counselor, and then she goes and sees her friends. It's not just permission, but also I guess approval lah, because the guy that she wants to marry is like this Sierra Leonese Muslim.
Sierra Leone. Can I do it?
No.
Hello.
Anyway.
I will find your family and I will rape your wife in front of you. Oh wait, that's South African because you know what, blood diamond.
Captain Philip.
Hello. I would like to say I can do the accent very well, but I will not do it now. Okay, you may continue with the review of the film. Yes. Oh, we have not reached the film yet. We are now doing the synopsis of the story. You may continue, please.
So that's the film. What do we think of the film?
No, look. What do we think about the film? This film was released a long time ago, not in the cinemas, but it was going through the International Film Festival circuit.
Which is what it was made for, we must mention.
And I've got an issue with films that were made for festivals. But fine, I don't think they never wanted to release it for a local cinema distribution in Malaysia. And they've had like private screenings here and there.
Yeah.
We've never managed to catch it. And now we caught it right? We managed to watch it, and the film is quite controversial, right? Because it talks about the racism that is so obvious in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Especially to certain types of people.
Yeah.
Not all Malaysians are not racist to all people. Only racist to certain types of
Aren't they
people.
though? I
You know?
mean,
Yeah,
I feel like we think we are not racist to all people, but actually we are.
yeah, you know.
That's actually what it is.
Yeah, which I really don't agree with. I'm not agreeable to being racist to anyone, whatever race also. You know, whether they're black, white, you know, yellow, green. Oh no, wait, cannot. There are no green people, right?
That we know of.
Unless
Anyway.
you've got jaundice,
Anyway.
you know.
Okay, so
but
what do we? So this film, yeah.
Yeah. So what do we think about the film? The film is, look, Badrol has made several films before this. I've seen several of his films too. This film is, actually I saw a documentary he made, and another documentary he made, I think, but I don't think I've seen any other films of his lah. This one is, so this film to me is a very simple film. It's a very simple and surface film. Not to say that it's, I remember we had a big discussion after watching the film, right?
Yeah, which we shouldn't have had, because then we could have had it on camera, but I guess we will try to relive this.
Because initially when I watched the film, I thought it was a very cliche film. Very simple is one, but it was also very average, and everything that was talked about in the film is just so obvious, right? The dialogue is so obvious. The jokes being made is so obvious. It's almost like every character in this film is almost like a caricature of a certain type of person in Malaysia. You know, from the non-racist who wants to marry a different race, you know, to all the racist people lah. From her father to her best friends to the religious authorities, to everyone around Malaysia. It's like the script writers, who is Faizal Terani and Badrul himself, took all these different stories and characters in Malaysia, and then combine it into single characters, you know, and they're very caricature lah. So thinking about the film, now here's the thing. Badrul directed the film very well. It's done. It's tight. It's beautiful. It's shot nicely. You know, he has control of the pacing of the narrative. Everything. It's great. Editing is nice. He's a good director. Right? He's a good director. But again, because I felt the film was too obvious, it made me not like the film. You know. But then when I think about it, the way the film was shot made it seem like it's a real story, but the characters in the story were not real. They were caricatures. So that caused some confusion in my head, you know. It caused a little bit of awkwardness in my head lah. So I think you need to watch this film with a very open mind, because the way it was shot made me look at the film, realism. I'll take the story in. But then the characters didn't fit that style of the way it was shot and edited. Yeah. So I was like, then how? You know? Cannot lah. So I want to say that I like the film, also not really. I want to say that I don't like the film, also not really. Because maybe it was two inconsistent styles, like the writing and development of the characters and the style of making the film maybe didn't fit together, or maybe he wanted you maybe Badrul wanted you to see the film as creating this confusion and discomfort. Yeah, so I'm neither here nor there.
I really like the film.
Yeah, but I also think that it was also kind of like a film that was made for an urban crowd to pat each other on the back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like because a film like this is accessible only to a certain type of audience.
The festival audience.
And
that was made for.
I have a big problem with a festival audience or a normal audience, because all audience are just audience, right? And if you make a film with the purpose of showing it in the festival, the film will come out very
like this.
It'll be very pretentious, superficial, exoticized, you know, which I don't like lah. You should make a film. And if it fits for festivals, great. If it fits for a public audience, great. You know what I mean? That should be the intention of making the film lah. But back to me trying to say that it was made for a particular audience, like you say, a festival audience, right? And that type of audience is already an audience that would
It's very highbrow.
will be not really, yeah, they're highbrow, but that's not my point. My point is this the audience that would already be on the same page with the philosophy and the concept and the objective of the film. So when they watch the film, of course they'll be saying, oh yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But are you making this film to preach to the converted? Or do you actually want this film to create awareness? You know what I mean? Because if you show it to an audience that probably doesn't agree with the ideas in this film, the film will be very hostile to them. I think like it will be received as quite hostile. You know? Yeah. Again, not to say that this film is bad, because I think Badrul is a good director and he made the film well. Right? But yeah, it's just that lah. And of course he has a right to make whatever film he wants, and the audience can then respond however they want as well lah. You know? Yeah.
I think contextually, the film was made with film festival grant money, number one. So it had to be made for a film festival. Number two, there was a discussion with Badrul, right, after we saw the film, and Badrul also said like, when you make a film and it has to go to a film festival, there are certain things that is required of the film. So that's the second thing, which is why I think the film came out the way it did. Number three, I don't think the film was made with the intention of, like, we always make films with a social intention, you know what I mean? We always make films to start conversations or change narratives or push the envelope, and we try to make sure that everybody comes away from our documentaries with kind of either a changed perspective or at least something to think about. I don't think that was the intention with this film. I feel that, through the discussion with Badrul and through watching the film also, I really think that it's just made just to tell this story that was on paper that they just wanted to bring to the screen. I don't think there are any real social intentions to it, which is why I'm kind of willing to forgive all these things that you just mentioned.
Forgive? So that means he did something wrong which you're willing to overlook?
No, it's not that he did something wrong, but obviously when we watch films, these are the kind of things that appeal to us. But with this film, it appeals to me, but not for these reasons, okay? So I'm willing to overlook that because I really like the film. I really like the film because for what it is as it stands, right, when I'm looking at it just as the film itself, it is actually a really good film. Is it made for a slightly highbrow, elitist crowd? Yeah, it is. The character itself is an elitist already. I think that further charges the fact that it's made for a highbrow, elitist crowd, because there's a lot of nuances that if you are not part of that society, you wouldn't really understand. Like the way that she has a conversation with her father, her father uses all these royal language words, lingo, which is not present in everyday Malay conversation. And then there's this crowd of her friends that, they went and study abroad together, SOAS, which I thought was super ironic because they study at SOAS, but then they are racist against the guy from the African country. So what exactly did you learn at SOAS? We also don't know.
Explain what SOAS is, because
SOAS
people
is
don't know
the
what is SOAS.
the School of Oriental and African Studies in London. So anyway, it's clearly made for a very niche type of society, I felt. Whether or not that was the intention, I don't know, but that was definitely what came across. But I am a Malay-Muslim woman in Malaysia. I might not be in my 50s, but when I wanted to get married, I also had to go through a lot of weird bureaucracy. Not necessarily because I was marrying an African man, because as we can see, he's brown but not completely black.
If you're talking about African men,
also not there. Anyway,
I will tell you that
anyway,
you will have to try to experience.
Please take him and go. Anyway, and then, but there was, so I thought there wouldn't be issues because, we are both Malay-Muslim Malaysians and it shouldn't be difficult for us to get married. But it was.
Because you don't have a binti in your name.
Yeah, there was still issues, and it was such a micro issue that was being brought up for it was just weird lah. It was a weird bureaucracy. I was angry, and it was clearly because I was a woman. You know, they needed to know that my father was my father, even though there was a birth certificate to show it. We had to get a lawyer's letter to show it. But they still didn't want to believe me, which was stupid.
Just because you didn't have a binti.
Yeah.
But in the birth certificate, all written already. Who father, who
Yeah,
mother, all
exactly.
when born, when marry, all got already.
So I felt the frustrations that she had to a certain degree, but also the parts that were not realistic to me were like her friends. So these SOAS friends, okay, let's talk about them. They're two females, played by Susan Lancaster and Vanida Imran, played again excellently, and they are a couple. Okay, they are a couple, but they are also, so they're clearly a queer couple, but even they are opposed to her relationship with this Sierra Leonese man because
Practical.
they are not racist, they are practical. So they're saying like all these things like, oh, you know, he's younger than you, you know, these African men, they will leave you, you know, they have like high appetites. That's brought up a lot, like, oh, you know, how are you going to puaskan him, kena terja nanti, blah 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 blah. And even her friends were like that, and I felt as a woman that was not very accurate to my experience of having female friends. Because I think your female friends, even if they oppose your views, they will not like come on to say these things to you the way that they did. They will oppose you, but slightly differently lah. Like Vanida Imran's character, I guess, was the closest to what a realistic female friendship is. You know, like, actually, you don't really need to get married, you know, you can get married in these other ways. I just learned this today. And she's like offering up all these like alternatives while still kind of being supportive. Whereas Susan Lancaster's character was completely like going on the nail for it. So that didn't feel very realistic to me as a woman.
So all women will never be like that?
I don't know if all women will never be like that, but it didn't feel realistic to the female friendships that I have had. And I didn't like the fact that everyone in this film, with the exception, I guess, of her lawyer and her assistant, were opposed to this, because it didn't give me the tension. It wasn't realistic lah. I feel like it's not very realistic that everyone in your life is going to be opposed to
Which
this
is what
one
I
thing.
also feel lah. The characters are all not real.
Yeah, so it was just too much opposition, and there should have been at least one person who was like, maybe not all the way in her corner, but at least someone who was kind of there. Would that have made it easier for her? I don't think so, you know. I don't think that putting someone in her corner would have made it like so much easier or anything, but it would have at least made it a little bit more whole, the story, because it was too binary. It was her versus everyone else, and that was the binary. And it was, I get why it was like that for the purposes of the film, but I didn't necessarily, because that's what they want to show lah, like her against the world, and everyone is opposed to it, everyone in every circle is opposed to it, even her progressive friends are opposed to it. But it was not realistic lah. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was very realistic. So I didn't really enjoy that. But the basic, you talked about Badrul being a good director and having control over the film. Yes, he had control over the film, and he is a very good director. But I did feel like it was a little bit too slow. I don't know if that was deliberate. I think it was deliberate because it was like a little bit highbrow, right? So it was like everything is very paced. It's very feeling. Every scene is like feeling.
But not all highbrow films are slow.
I don't know. Macam dia bangun pagi dia makan durian pun dah 3 minit. Ya Allah. It's like, it was yeah, it could have been faster lah for me. But that's just a personal preference.
Like, I don't think film festival grants are given to films only for films that will be shown in festivals. Like, Liu Seng Tat gets grants from film festivals all the time, and his films are in the cinema.
No, but
Mui gets grants from festivals all the time, and her films are all in the cinemas, cinema distributed. You know what I mean?
yeah, but
so
they said
Edmund and all that.
this film was a film festival grant, which means it was supposed to go to festivals.
But that's not it, because film festival grants are not for films only to be shown in, not for films to be made that's only for festivals. It's supposed to be shown anywhere, everywhere. You know, so that's why I have a problem with, oh, this film will be made for festivals. You know, it's like you're already clichéing your film.
But that's
You're already categorizing your film. No, I know that that's what he wants to do, and he has the right to do it, right?
Fine.
Because I can make a film for YouTube, and I say, I just want it to be on YouTube, or I want to make it for TV. I just fine. It's everybody's right, but I have a problem with that, and so I'm expressing my problem now because then it categorizes the film a little bit too much. And for me, the film was categorized like that. The content ended up becoming like that because of that intention, I guess, of that objective, you know. And like the film is actually so highbrow and so exclusive that if you don't know what SOAS is, you will never know unless you Google. That already excludes certain people to watch this film. So that's why I say it's made for a crowd who already understands it, who already knows it, who already believes in that concept and that idea and that belief. They see it. Oh. You know what I mean? Whereas like, and this is me only, right? Maybe that's his intention. But for me, sometimes or many times, I want to watch a film that I'm unfamiliar with, like the topic I'm unfamiliar with, I don't know, I'm not sure, and then I want to make up my mind.
But
you know
like I said, a lot of people are unfamiliar with this topic.
Yeah, but
you cannot assume
fine.
that
But
everyone knows.
Yes, but this is made for a crowd that's already familiar with the topic.
How would people in like Barcelona, for example, be familiar with
okay.
Sharia law?
Okay,
like
so,
that's not fair.
So when a film like this is made for a Barcelona crowd or a New York crowd or a London crowd, then to me the problem would be exoticizing the issue. You know what I mean? Because what can this crowd, aside from just being aware of it, right? What can they do?
Yeah, but this is a film just to
Yeah,
tell
I know,
a
I understand.
story.
It's good. So okay.
Tak apalah if
Yes.
they just watch it and they're like, oh, gitu ke?
I understand.
Fine.
So yeah, that's totally fine. But if then I cannot express this, then why do we have reviews?
No lah,
Why do we have
express it
reviews?
lah, but you don't need to like harp on it over and over again. You already said this in the first 10 minutes of the review.
But I very
say it again.
Look, I feel strongly about it.
Are you just negating what I had to say?
No, I'm not even asking Badru to change. I'm sure he's happy with the film, and I'm
Never
sure
change,
he's
Badru.
proud. Yeah, you know, nobody's expecting him to change. Look, like I said, it's a good director. He did it well, and obviously this is what he wanted, and he managed to do it. So it's great lah. But for me, when I see it, this is my reaction to it lah. It's that's the problem that I have when I watch the film. I don't have a problem with Badru. I don't have a problem with him making this film also. But you know, as an audience, I watch it. This is my reaction to it lah.
Okay.
You know, so it would be great to see what other people think. But then again, it's so hard to watch.
Yeah. So would you tell people to watch this film?
If you are a certain type of person who might be highbrow enough to want to watch this, to be able to watch this film and understand the things that... Well, no, not understand, but... Yeah, I think you can watch. I think this is a film that everybody should go and watch and try out, even if... But how? Because I think our reviews also, sometimes I want to make these reviews accessible to all, but because it's in the English language, I don't know if it's accessible to all also. But I do realize that we have audience who are not really like an English speaking crowd who do listen, because we get these comments from them, right?
Yeah.
So,
and their comment is, please review it in Malay.
no, only a few, but many people we don't get those comments anymore now. It's been years since we get comments like, oh, cakap lah Melayu. No more already. You know what I mean? Now they actually talk about the issues and what. So anyway, I think it should be seen. I think people should go and try and watch it. But the problem is it's not available anywhere. And it would be great if this gets a cinema release. But don't know can or cannot.
No.
If it gets like gets on like some streaming platform, also okay. You know. And it would be great to see a discussion that will be spurred by this film from people who, the crowd that I say, right, the urban crowd who already like convinced to it, like preaching to the converted, and maybe people who are not so agreeable to this idea. So it would be interesting Would you tell people to watch it?
Yeah. I would say watch it just because it's a good story. I know you feel half about it, but I thought it was a good story, and I think it's a story that isn't as usual lah. It's always the stories that aren't really told that get me, and this whole like nak kahwin from a female perspective thing, and then nak kahwin with somebody who is like so different. It's a draw lah. It's definitely an appealing element to the film.
But it's not a story that's never been told. It's been told over the decades. I've seen so many stories like this. Yeah,
Okay.
I have. You know, I think you Google now on YouTube also, you search on YouTube also, you can find videos made about this issue.
But go watch it.
Yeah,
It's-
I mean, go watch
if
it.
If you can, go watch it.
Yeah.
We can't tell you where to go watch it because we also don't know. So go if you can. Go watch it lah.
But as you can see, this is a good film to have a discussion about. You know what I mean? It does promote discourse. You know, whether it's about the issue or even about filmmaking in general. So whenever a film is made and that is the reaction, it's a successful film to me. I think, because a film doesn't have to be good to be a good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tell us what you think. And if you have been one of the lucky few that have watched the film, let us know.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay. So like this video, don't like this video, subscribe to our channel, follow us on all our social media platforms at Bidin, or go to fatbidin.com to get everything. You've been watching and listening to the Bidin Film Club. I'm assuming I'm Zan Azli.
And I'm Shari Usman.